Hey everyone, I'm Jim Gast with SpliceNet Consulting out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and I want to thank you for coming today. Today we're going to talk about the truth about voice over IP systems that salespeople won't tell you. And so first I want to let you know a little bit about me and so you understand where I'm coming from and why I'm doing this. I own a managed services provider in Cincinnati, SpliceNet Consulting, and so we have been supporting businesses now for well over 25 years. And COVID has been an incredible, difficult situation for many of our customers. Many of them are having problems communicating, right? And so, I'm looking at voice over IP systems, looking ways to improve communications for our customers. And I thought, I came across a lot of sales and marketing material on the web that's just so misleading and so salesy and so on and so forth that really doesn't do you justice. So I decided to kind of take to my live stream, right? And just so you know about me real quick, I do two other live streams. I do a live stream called No Law Firm Left Behind, targeted to law firms to help them improve their businesses, keep their clients and keep their staff productive and efficient, and help them to get new clients, right? So I'm putting myself out there for that industry. And I also do another live stream with a group of other 8 other business owners who are trying to, it's called The Reboot. And then these other business owners are trying to help me as well as, my customers and other people improve their businesses. So this is what I'm all about. This is what I've been doing for 25 years, is trying to help businesses improve and make things more efficient and help them gain new customers. And with COVID, man, it's kind of just changed everything for all of us. I saw it as a managed service provider. When it struck, people scrambled for technology. In the very beginning, March and April, and some into May, people were calling us up. How do we do this? How do we do that? How do we do this? How do we do that? And it's the ones that actually had technology in place to help them that really succeeded and kept going forward and moving forward in their businesses. But it's the other ones that didn't, that had antiquated phone systems or antiquated non-cloud based solutions in their businesses. They had a lot of struggles, right? And so I'm here to help you for 2021 right now. Okay, get prepared for that, to take all those problems off the table. And number one job for us is to communicate with our customers. Nothing gets done until something is sold. So we need to make sure that our customers can communicate with us properly. We need to make sure that our teams can communicate with each other properly as well. And if we go into another quarantine situation, or even have part of our staff working from home because maybe they have kids that aren't in school right now, there's a lot of virtual learning right now, or maybe they've been around or themselves have been infected with COVID, right? If they have to stay at home, how can they continue to work? For a lot of people, COVID is not decimating their lives. For a lot of people, like my family, my kids had COVID, and yes, of course, my wife and I had to buckle down at the house with them for 2 weeks. But my kids, they continue to do virtual learning. We continue to do work efficiently from home for our places of business and our customers. So I want you to be able to do the same thing next year. You can't do it right now, obviously. If you're watching this live stream, I'm assuming you're here for one of a couple reasons. One, you're just tired of COVID difficulties in communications. You're using your cell phone too much with business communications, and your employees are using their cell phone too much. Their voicemails are getting jumbled together with business voicemails and personal voicemails, or they're using their minutes on their phone, or even bad reception on the cell phone at their house. I know I have it sometimes in certain bad spots at my home. So you might be here because you're just tired of having difficulties during COVID in communicating, and you want to get a more seamless process or seamless system in place. Or, you might be here because you're trying to do end of year spending, right? A lot of people are trying to save money right now, and save on taxes, and hopefully have profits, right? And so, what better way to avoid some taxes but to reinvest that into your business? I know that I do occasionally. And in addition to that, I think that maybe some of you may be here because you might have old and outdated phone systems that are just antiquated. They have features that are just antiquated, or maybe they're featureless and just answer the phone and that's all you get. And you know that you need to improve it and you want to get ahead for 2021. And, you just want your customer communications and your clients, your clients and your staff to work together more efficiently. And let's face it, I love virtual technology like the next guy, but nothing beats an actual telephone, right? An actual physical desk phone, picking it up and actually saying, hey, Bob, what about X, Y, and Z? So maybe you're here for one of those reasons. And so what I'm going to do for you in the next, say, I don't know, I've got about 10 minutes or so left. I'm going to dispel the lies, right? That the mass marketing of the voice over IP providers give you. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to pull back the curtain and let you understand what the reality is when it comes to voice over IP solutions. And I'm going to tell you, at the same time, I'm going to tell you what you should be looking for in a voice over IP system, the questions you should be asking to make a decision on a voice over IP system. So let's get to it. We're going to start. I got a couple of notes here, so forgive me. I put this together over the weekend and I just wanted to fly it together for you really quick. So forgive me for looking at my notes, but here's the thing. I think you need to understand first some of the marketing that's out there, right? Why are they putting this out there? Well, you can look you can do a search on Google for voice over IP systems, right? And you're going to come up with AT&T, you're going to come up with Vines, you're going to come up with, maybe Verizon, who knows, right? All the major players are going to be out there because they're spending a lot of money on AdWords so that when you hit those AdWords, you get their ad. Because the fact of the matter is that they know that if you see them first, they think they're the best. They think you're going to think that they're the best because you're the first up there. And that's just not the case. They're the first because they're spending more money than anybody else to make sure that they're the first. And just because they're spending more money doesn't mean they're the best. Okay. That just means that they got more money to spend. I mean, we all know that just because you got a lot of money doesn't mean you're the best provider, best customer service, best technology, so on and so forth. So, the marketing out there is very misleading and you need to watch out for it. Okay. Some of the things that you need to understand is that they trick you, right? They trick you into contracts. They trick you into believing that theirs are the best phone systems. When in fact, there's a lot of other elements that go into play in a voice over IP system that need to be considered. And I'm going to talk about those questions you need to ask. But just because they're first on Google doesn't mean they're the best. They may offer like free phones or something along those lines. These are tricks, to get you in and get you. But really, how do you know? And how can you tell the difference? Well, first, let's talk about the problems with voice over IP systems. The problems with voice over IP systems is that if it's not done right, if you just go with the marketing, okay, you're going to have very specific problems. You know what? I'll just tell you. Here's the secret. The secret lie that no salesperson that sells a voice over IP system will tell you. Are you ready? All voice over IP systems are just about the same. They're just about the same. They work over the internet. They have about the same number of features. Some are a little bit different here and there, but really the secret is, and this is what they won't say, it's the after the deal service that you get from them. Okay. Who do you call? What if the phone system has a problem? What neck do you choke? Right. And are you going to be just one of 100,000 users that they've got, or are you going to be somebody that gets, very good attention? So it's really all of them the same. This is a big secret. Curtain pulled back. All of them are about the same. Okay. The difference is service and support after you get the system. Okay. There's one other thing to prevent the fact that the necessity of needing that service and support afterwards. They need to do some really important things beforehand. And we're going to talk about that here. So call quality, biggest problem with voice over IP systems. If it's not done right, if they don't do their job the right way, you're going to have a bad experience. In the beginning of voice over IP systems, admittedly, we had problems, right? The technology was young. Everything we needed to know in the beginning 10 years ago about voice over IP was we didn't even know hardly any of it yet. But if they don't do this today, then you will have bad experience. You need a network assessment. Doesn't have to be a very expensive one. Heck, it could be free in most cases, right? I know we do our network assessments for free before we do a voice over IP solution. You need a great firewall. So network assessment, great firewall, good internet connectivity, a decent network at the office, which means you can't have, just some network switch out of a Staples or something like that. You need good technology and somebody to tell you whether your network and network systems qualifies for voice over IP. Because I don't want my customers to have bad service. If they do, we have to pull it out, and we got an unhappy customer, and I'm not going to have that. So make sure that you got good internet, good firewall. And internet, just not any internet will do. Sometimes for a few users it might be okay to have cheap internet, but for other ones, you need a good quality internet connection, right? Fiber is the way to go. If somebody comes in and says it'll work over phone line internet, kick them out the door right away because you don't want to talk to them. So Ring Central, AT&T, these guys aren't doing a network assessments beforehand. They're saying, hey, yeah, okay, how many phones do you need? Great. What service do you need? Boom, we'll send you your phones, plug them in, and it's all on you. So here's the other thing that I think is a big consideration, a big problem that these sales guys don't really talk about. They want to hide all this stuff. What if the internet goes down? What do you do? Well, a good provider would plan for that in advance, and they would keep things up to date for you. For example, you can reroute to a designated cell phone automatically if the internet goes down. See, it's not like the old days where if the internet goes down, boom, you're out of luck, right? You have no internet, you have no phones. That was what happened in voice over IP in the early days, right? There was no redundancy, no features to forward to or failover systems, right? And so a good provider is going to actually talk to you about this and say, okay, worst case scenario, internet goes down. What do you want to happen? Do we want to reroute it to a designated cell phone and then that person handles it, which is an option for people? Do we want it to go to an auto attendant, kind of like the night attendant, similar to that? Do you want it to go there? Do you want it to go to voicemail instead? You see the phone system somewhere in that cloud up there, right? It doesn't exist on premise. So what happens is just because your internet goes down and those physical desk phones aren't working, that phone system's still working and still receiving calls and still can do things with those calls, right? So we can set it up so everybody's phone routes to their cell phone. We could set it up so that it routes to the app on their cell phone, right? We could set it up so that it just goes directly into voicemail. And of course, those voicemails go to email. So a good provider will have these discussions with you because that's the reality of the world. I think right now, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Google and YouTube are actually having problems over the weekend. And even this morning when I was checking YouTube, and I might not be streaming on YouTube right now, but oh well, right? So the reality is these things have problems and they need to be discussed in advance. So, as I said, the secret is that they're all these systems are the same. These are a couple of things that differentiate most providers. So a provider like us, a person that's going to implement a phone system for you, we're going to take the time to make sure that it's successful. It's not like your cable company, right? Where you have to call and threaten to switch to get them to do anything for you. No, I mean, our goal, our job is to make sure that you stay a customer, you stay a happy customer. We're a managed service provider. We're a technology company, and phones, voice over IP has moved away from the old mysterious phone system guys, right? Now it's all web-based management. It's all, how do you, a technology company like ours that takes the time to make sure that infrastructure is right, make sure that you have the right settings on your system, right settings on your firewall. That's the differentiator right there. So got a couple of questions that you should ask any person trying to sell you a phone system, right? And I don't know if I'm going to have time for all of these. I'm kind of out of time. I'm going to go a few minutes over if you can stay tuned. Here's a question. Who's going to set your phone system up and customize it for your specific needs, right? Very important question. Are they going to charge you a large setup fee, right? Are they going to charge you some large upfront fee? By the way, we have a promotion right now where we're not charging to set up phone systems, and we're giving 2 months of your phone bill for free with our provider, right? And so who's going to set it up and who's going to take care of that? And when you need a change, who's going to make the change? Do you got to call a support line, or can they teach you how to do it? Or do you even want to know how to do it, right? Will they teach you your staff on how to manage their settings for themselves? Will they teach your office manager how to do it, or the business owner on how to do it? And how do we get help? Do I have to call a number to get help? Well, my phones are down, maybe. Then what do I do, right? And so here's some more questions. I got a whole Q&A that I'm going to post up on my website later on today. By the way, the QR code, I forgot to mention the QR code right here. This QR code goes to my link tree. If you scan that QR code, all you got to do is kind of open up your camera on your phone. All right, go to it, hold your phone over top of it, and it'll pull up a link on top of there that you can click on and go to the website. And you go to what's called my link tree, and my link tree will then give you options to my website and communication features to get a hold of me and stuff. So I know you can't see that too well, but trust me, it's a great tool to have. You should investigate it for yourself. Side note. Couple of things. How long you've been selling phones? That's kind of a no-brainer, right? How can I be certain of sound quality? Can you bring me a demo phone? Dude, we come in with a demo phone and we'll leave it there for a week so you can use it. Who's going to transfer my telephone numbers over, right? Who's going to cancel my phone bill with my existing provider? Who's going to analyze my contract? Who's going to analyze whether I can get out of my existing contract or not? I'm in a contract, or maybe I'm out of contract. Oh, here's a great big trick that the phone companies that also provide internet. Now, these aren't the phone system providers like the people that sell phone systems, although phone companies do. I'm talking about the people that sell you phone lines and internet connectivity. The trick that they play is that they get long contracts, but they don't run concurrently. So you might have a phone bill that runs from, for 3 years starting in January. And then you signed an internet connection agreement with them that starts in May that runs for 3 years. Well, guess what? And if they have them at all built on top of each other or dependent upon each other, then your phone contract might end, but you still have internet connectivity with them. And guess what? Because your phones rely on their internet connectivity, you're stuck with that phone system. You got to go month to month, and they raise your bills astronomically, right? And so you got to have an expert analyze your phone bills. AT&T, Ring Central, these people are not doing this. We sit down, we take your phone bills, we analyze your phone bills, and we're looking at them. And it's important to know what your options are. And if there's a cost savings, we're doing a cost savings analysis for you. A good phone provider, not to pump us up too much, but obviously I'm trying to teach you some things. A good phone provider, a good voice over IP provider would teach you that. Here's another thing to ask. Is this voice over IP, or are these just IP phones? In other words, do the phones just connect to my network, and then once they get to the phone system or phone switch, they basically become landlines at that point? So there is a difference between voice over IP and IP phones, and you should ask the difference. Can I keep my current number? Does your quote include taxes? A lot of these providers are not talking about taxes on their phone system. A quote should include the taxes associated with federal taxes associated with your phone bill. Do I need your phone system and separate phone lines? Okay. And so that's where we get into the IP phone system and the true VoIP system. A true VoIP system runs over the internet, okay, to a phone system in the cloud somewhere else, right? You have no equipment but that phone, okay? And if you need separate phone lines, then you're not getting a VoIP system. You're getting kind of tricked a little bit. So more questions to ask on that one. The other thing is my handset. Do I pay for my phone, my desk set? All right, and my desk phone. You shouldn't have to pay for your desk phone. If I have a problem with my desk phone, do I have to pay to replace it? You shouldn't have to pay to replace it. And what in 3 years, I have my contract with 3 years. Do you replace the phones after they get so old? They should replace them after a certain period of time. I know we do. All right. And so you don't lose your phone line. What about faxing and things like that? Do you offer e-fax service? No, most of them make you go somewhere else for e-faxing. You shouldn't have to go somewhere else for e-faxing, and somebody should support that telephone number over for faxing as well. And so just a couple of things. What I would say is I don't want to take you for very long today. Obviously, I wanted to teach you a couple of things, and I appreciate the little bit of time. I went over for 5 minutes, and I want to apologize for that. But this is an important time. It's the end of the year. Businesses are trying to make the decisions on switching phone systems, and I want you to have a little bit of education. So I've got a web page, and you can go to it. You can do the QR code. It's at the top of the link tree when you scan the QR code and go to the site. Or I could just give it to you at www.splice.net/VoIP. Voice over IP is what it stands for, VoIP. And then I have a video on there. But more importantly, if you're interested in the phone systems, if you're having a problem, you just don't know, what direction to go, you don't know the questions to ask, go to the website. Watch the video. I put it up there last week. I just did it really quick because this offer that I have right now of free implementation and 2 months free of phone service only lasts until the end of the month. We have had to have contracts signed by the end of the month. And so I'm doing all this in a big hurry to try to make sure I get the information out there to you. But fill out the form. We'll schedule a 10-minute call with you to talk about it. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to get a quote together. And then I'll schedule a network assessment, and then you're off to the races. At least you'll have, and I'll also send you the report at the same time. At least you'll have all this information to make the right decision. So again, Jim Gass, SpliceNet Consulting. Thanks for your time today. www.splice.net/VoIP. Or you can just reach out to me and shoot me an email at jim@splice.net. Thanks a lot for your time. And again, sorry I went over, but good luck. Take care.